It began on an ordinary Thursday evening in the quiet town of Fairmont. Daniel Morgan, a respected businessman with a reputation for integrity, and his wife Clara, a beloved schoolteacher, were driving home after a charity gala. The streets were dimly lit, the kind of suburban calm that felt safe, until it wasn't. As they slowed at a traffic light, a black SUV cut across their lane. Within seconds, masked men jumped out. Witnesses later recalled the chilling efficiency. The car doors yanked open, Daniel and Clara dragged out, muffled screams, the screech of tires. Then, nothing but silence. The police knew this wasn't random. Daniel had enemies. Chief among them was Victor Hale, a ruthless former associate who had once accused Daniel of betraying him in a multi-million-dollar deal. Victor had sworn revenge. Everyone suspected him. But as investigators dug deeper, nothing was simple. The Morgans' abandoned car was found 2 miles away. Inside were Clara's pearl earrings, one broken and smeared with blood, and a handwritten note. "You took everything from me. Now I'll take everything from you." The city was paralyzed with fear. Daniel's company offered a ransom of $2 million for their safe return. Yet no call came. No demand. Nothing. 3 nights later, hikers discovered a shallow grave near an old quarry. Inside lay Clara lifeless, her hands bound, her wedding ring missing. She had been alive for at least a day after the abduction. The autopsy revealed blunt force trauma, but also traces of sedatives in her system. She hadn't just been killed. She had been kept, waiting for something. But Daniel was gone. Detectives confronted Victor Hale. His alibi was airtight. Security footage placed him at a crowded nightclub the entire night of the abduction. He smirked during questioning, repeating only, "If I wanted Morgan dead, you'd already have his body." The investigation spiraled into uncertainty. Why abduct both, only to kill Clara and vanish with Daniel? Was it revenge, or something darker? Then came the twist. A witness, an elderly truck driver, reported seeing Daniel days after Clara's death. Not as a hostage, but walking willingly beside one of the masked men into an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. When police raided it, the place was empty. Only one thing remained: Clara's missing wedding ring, placed neatly on a wooden chair. To this day, Daniel Morgan has never been found. Some believe Victor orchestrated the crime, but left Daniel alive to suffer. Others whisper that Daniel may have conspired in some way, that the abduction was staged, and Clara's death was an unintended tragedy. The truth remains buried in the shadows. What began as an act of revenge turned into a mystery with no end. A grieving town mourns Clara, while the question haunts everyone who knew them. Did Daniel Morgan die that night, or did he choose to disappear? The discovery of Clara Morgan's body should have brought investigators closer to the truth. Instead, it deepened the shadows surrounding Daniel's disappearance. Clara was gone, but Daniel, Clara's husband, businessman, and now central figure in a chilling mystery, was neither dead nor alive in the eyes of the law. He had simply vanished. Detectives believe Daniel's enemy, Victor Hale, orchestrated the abduction. After all, Hale had motive, rage, and history. But Hale's ironclad alibi forced them to ask a darker question. If Hale wasn't behind it, who was? The note left in the Morgans' car, "You took everything from me. Now I'll take everything from you," was analyzed for handwriting. Strangely, experts concluded it was written by someone attempting to disguise their style, as though they wanted suspicion to fall in a certain direction. This was the first sign that someone had carefully staged the abduction, a performance written to frame Hale. Daniel's last confirmed sighting came from that elderly truck driver, who swore he saw him walking into the warehouse. Calm, silent, not resisting. When detectives searched the warehouse, they found no fingerprints, no trace of struggle, and no sign of Daniel, only Clara's wedding ring on a wooden chair, placed deliberately, almost ritualistically. It raised the disturbing question: was Daniel still a hostage, or had he crossed over from victim to accomplice? Weeks later, Daniel's secretary turned over something investigators had missed. A small leather-bound journal Daniel had kept hidden in his office. Inside were cryptic entries in the weeks leading up to the abduction. "I see them everywhere now. She doesn't believe me, but they're watching. If it comes to it, I'll go with them. It's the only way to keep her safe." Chillingly, the final entry, written the night before the abduction, read, "Tomorrow it begins. Clara must not be harmed." Yet Clara was harmed. Fatally. 6 months after Clara's funeral, her sister received an envelope in the mail. Inside was a single photograph: Daniel, sitting at a table in what looked like a dimly lit room. His face was gaunt, eyes hollow, almost as if life had been drained from him. On the back, written in the same shaky handwriting as the car note, were 5 haunting words. He is where he belongs. Investigators couldn't determine if the photo was authentic or staged. But its timing, the exact 6-month mark, suggested deliberate orchestration, as if someone wanted to remind the world that Daniel was alive, yet unreachable. Theories began to swirl, each one more unsettling than the last. Some believed Daniel was being kept alive to prolong his torment, a prisoner of revenge. Others whispered that he had staged his own disappearance, using Hale's reputation as cover. If that were true, Clara's death may have been the tragic accident of a plan gone wrong. His journal hinted at paranoia, scribbles about watchers, about a choice he might one day be forced to make. Could Daniel have suffered a mental break, stepping willingly into captivity? And then there were those who believed something larger, something ritualistic, had taken place, a crime staged not for ransom, but for erasure. Yet behind the theories was something even darker, the emotional aftermath. Clara's family grieved not only her death, but the unbearable silence of Daniel's absence. To bury her without knowing what had truly happened tore open wounds that could never heal. For Daniel's employees and friends, the man they once trusted became a ghost story. Was he a victim, traitor, or both? Fairmont itself became haunted by the case. Townspeople spoke of Daniel in whispers, some insisting he had been seen in distant places, others claiming he had never left at all. Police officers admitted privately that the unanswered questions crept into their dreams. The mystery wasn't just about where Daniel had gone. It was about why. And that question, whether he was taken, broken, or complicit, was what truly haunted everyone who had known him. Years passed. Nobody. No ransom. No confession. Only echoes. Clara's grave bears the inscription, "Beloved wife, forever remembered." Beside it is an empty space reserved for Daniel. But to this day, it remains unfilled. Because without a body, without closure, Daniel Morgan exists only as a question. Was he a victim or conspirator? Prisoner or willing ghost? Did he die that night, or did he choose to disappear into the shadows of his own making? The truth, like Daniel himself, is gone, lost to a mystery that still lingers like a wound that refuses to heal.